and surrender of the suspect.
Because I understand there was a statement before by the former, there was a statement before by President Bongbong Marcos saying that we will not cooperate with the ICC since it has no longer jurisdiction to the Philippines. But right now, the former president was surrendered to the ICC. That's why the question of whether the Philippine government coordinated with the ICC prior to the arrest of the former president.
Well, as I was mentioning, we need to distinguish the issue of the jurisdiction from before and after the withdrawal of the Philippines. Crimes that allegedly were committed before the withdrawal of the Philippines from the ICC Rome Statute remains under ICC jurisdiction. So the ICC has jurisdiction over these past alleged crimes, but there is no jurisdiction currently over Philippines for if crimes would be committed after this withdrawal. So the issue of jurisdiction is different from the issue of the cooperation. Now, the issue of the cooperation, as I said, it was for the Philippines authorities to cooperate with the international accountability mechanisms and with the ICC, and we are really grateful that this was done to make the truth clear for everyone and to see the process of justice working. As for the cooperation with the Philippines, as I mentioned, after an ICC pretrial chamber delivers an arrest warrant, it has to be communicated to the different states in order to ensure the arrest and surrender of a suspect. So it's a natural process.
All right. Some view Duterte's case as a gift to the ICC, noting that the court's conviction record primarily involves African warlords. They suggest that this case is a significant boost for the ICC. How do you respond to such claims?
Well, first, I think all cases before the ICC are about very serious crimes, about mass crimes. By definition, the jurisdiction of the ICC is about war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide, and in certain cases, the crime of aggression. These are very serious and very grave crimes. So all cases before the ICC are important. And for us, it's very important to always remember that why we are doing all of this, it's because victims have suffered and they deserve to know the truth. And accountability has to be there in order to ensure for the future, a better future for everyone. Now, that being said, we need to understand that historically, most of the cases before the ICC were related to conflicts in Africa, but that's because the African states themselves had asked the ICC to open an investigation about it, or because the Security Council of the United Nations also asked the ICC to open an investigation in relation to Libya and Sudan, also in Africa. But that was a certain amount of years ago. Since then, the ICC has opened other investigations, whether in regard to Ukraine, to Afghanistan, to Philippines, to Palestine, and in other places. So it's no longer only about a certain region. The ICC jurisdiction is over 125 states that are parties to the ICC Rome Statute, over their territories, if anyone is committing crimes on their territories, even from non-state parties, or if crimes are committed by their citizens anywhere in the world. That's the parameters of the ICC jurisdiction. And these parameters have to be applied consistently over all these places. And that's what we are trying to do. So for us, we are working in a legal framework according to the Rome Statute that was adopted by the states. The states created this institution, and the work of the court is actually to implement this legal framework. And while there were historical reasons why we started with a certain number of investigations, but currently we have investigation over 4 different continents, and I think all of the cases that are before the ICC are very serious, very important, and we need more cooperation from all different states, also because there is a certain number of arrest warrants that have not yet been implemented, and that is important also that the states cooperate to arrest and surrender these other suspects.
How do you view this case in particular, considering that this is the first ever Asian leader to be surrendered and to be facing a case at the ICC?
As I mentioned, we do not look at the situations or at the crimes depending on where they were committed in this or that continent. We have investigations in 4 different continents, and we have already issued arrest warrants in a number of situations, not only related to Africa, but also related to Asia and to Ukraine and so on. So we think that it's important that we keep working in this direction, and we hope that there will be more cooperation from the states to implement these other arrest warrants as well.
The ICC is recognized as a court of last resort, intervening only when national judicial systems are unwilling or even unable to genuinely investigate and prosecute individuals for the gravest international crimes. By taking on Duterte's case, some may interpret this as a sign that the ICC lacks confidence in the Philippine government's ability or willingness to handle such cases. How do you respond to these observations?
Well, we need to explain the principle of complementarity before the ICC. As you mentioned, the ICC is a court of a last resort. What does that mean? That means that the primary responsibility is with the national tribunals. But if they are unwilling or unable, or if they haven't opened cases, then the ICC can intervene because there is no other venue for the victims. Now, that means that if there is no case against the same individual for the same alleged criminal conduct, then the ICC can go ahead with the case. The principle of complementarity is not a general judgment over the ability of the system. It's a specific judgment over this specific case. So that means that if there were, for example, national proceedings against the same suspect for the same alleged conducts, then his or her defense team, or even the state that is concerned, can raise a challenge to the admissibility of this case before the ICC and say that the ICC should stop the case because there is already a case that has started before the national tribunals, and it's substantially the same case, and that the national tribunals are genuine about it. They have to demonstrate that. In these conditions, then the ICC would stop the case before it. But if there are no cases, or if the case is about another suspect, or if the case is about different alleged criminal conducts by the same suspect, then substantially it's not the same case. And that means that the principle of complementarity would not be applicable on this specific case. So we are not making